Hi everyone, I'm Shelly and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. I'm back with another Question the Narrative video, and today's topic is the identity of the fourth kingdom, iron mixed with clay. I'm sure that there are several theories about who the fourth kingdom is, iron mixed with clay. There are two that I hear the most often. So before we get into that, though, you might be thinking, what are you talking about? Well, let's read Daniel chapter 2. We're going to read verses 40 to 43. And there shall be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, because iron breaks to pieces and shatters all things. And like iron that crushes, it shall break and crush all these. And as you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, it shall be a divided kingdom, but some of the firmness of iron shall be in it, just as you saw iron mixed with the soft clay. And as the toes of the feet were partly iron and partly clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly brittle. As you saw the iron mixed with soft clay, so they will mix with one another in marriage, but they will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay. So going back to the first image that I had up, let's just go over what the other kingdoms are. And there's a pretty common consensus about who the first three kingdoms were. So there's the kingdom of Babylon is the head of gold in Daniel chapter 2. The kingdom of Medes and Persians is the chest and arms of silver. The kingdom of ancient Greece is the belly and thighs of bronze. The legs of iron are the kingdom of ancient Rome. Then it says the feet of iron and clay. And in this opinion, it is the kingdom of restored Rome. And as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but these two are actually together. So this together is the fourth kingdom. It's not 5. And again, the idea that the fourth kingdom, the kingdom of iron, is speaking about Rome is a pretty common consensus. Theory of a revived Rome, meaning iron mixed partly with clay, that one there's not so much of a consensus on. And there's not even a consensus of what the restored Roman Empire would even look like. I have a picture of the White House here because a lot of people believe that America, the United States, is going to play a large role in the restoration of the Roman Empire, and that they would then be part of the clay when it comes to the toes of this statue. So here's just another prophetic timeline that shows you the kingdoms, and it has the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, and then it has separately the revived Roman Empire, and it says that that's going to be in the future. Now, how they get that from clay, I'm not too sure about. So if you are someone who believes that the clay and the iron is actually talking about a future revived Roman Empire, if you could leave a comment and let me know how they reach the conclusion. I can't speak today. How they reach the conclusion, or how you reach the conclusion that a revived Roman Empire would then be clay, because I'm not understanding where that comes from. Another theory that I heard, and I believe that it was Rob Skiba that I heard it from the first time, believes that the iron mixed with clay is actually talking about the resurgence of the Nephilim and a future end time scenario, and that the part about it saying that it shall not cleave or they will not hold together stems from the fact that it is a theory that the Nephilim, if they would mate with human women, would have sterile children. So that is another idea that I've heard recently about who this fourth kingdom is talking about when it comes to the iron mixed with clay. I believe that the answer to who the fourth kingdom is much more simple than that. And rather than looking to theories that we just happen to come up with, let's take a look at what the Bible says and see if the Bible gives us any clues as to what it's talking about when it comes to clay. So let's turn to Jeremiah 18:6. I'm saying turn like as if I have my physical Bible in my hand. Let's go to Jeremiah 18:6, where it says, O house of Israel, Can I not do with you as this potter has done, declares the Lord? Behold, like the clay in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, O house of Israel. So right there in Jeremiah 18:6, we have the house of Israel being called the potter's clay. And what is it talking about here? It says partly of potter's clay. So I believe it is telling us who this is speaking of. I honestly don't think that it can get much more clear than that when it tells you specifically who the potter's clay is in the scriptures, and then this says that it's made of the potter's clay. But I have one more piece of what I'll call evidence, but this is not from the word. This is actually from a book that does tie together though the things that were happening in that time. And I think that it really gives a good synopsis of this. And this is from, I'm trying to find it here, book Armageddon Deception by Michael Sullivan. I've been talking about it a lot recently just because I have been reading it. So get lots of ideas as I'm reading it. But I just want to share with you what he had to say about this. And this is what gave me this whole idea of doing a video, because again, I think it's very clear who the clay is talking about in the fourth kingdom. In this book, Michael Sullivan says, the last of Daniel's four beasts is Rome, and it comprises both Roman elements, iron, and that of the apostate Jews and Herodian dynasty, clay. These groups have a love-hate relationship, which made the kingdom vulnerable and weak. At first, they both come together in seeking to destroy Christ and the early church. But since clay does not mix or cling with iron, the apostate Jews, the clay, rebel against the Romans, iron, and this results in the Roman-Jewish War. So if you happen to know anything about the Roman-Jewish War, you would know that ahead of time, beforehand, both the Romans and the Jews were persecuting the Christians. But eventually, the Christians fled. They went to Pella, and the Romans and the Jews ended up in conflict because the Jews turned against the Romans. And it was the Jews, I believe, who burned down their own temple. And to me, the fact that we have the Jews and Rome living together in Jerusalem because it was under control of the Roman Empire, we have two very distinct groups of people, iron and clay, they will not cleave together. They will not stick together. They start out doing well, as I believe it says in marriage. It's obvious. I mean, maybe some of them married. I think this is symbolism though, but it says they will mix with one another in marriage, but they will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay. So at first they start out working together, and then they turn on each other because they're not going to mix. And what results then is the Jewish and Roman war that ends up destroying the kingdom, and in my opinion is the judgment of Jerusalem that is spoken about in Revelation. So just to, put all this in one easy nutshell, I believe the fourth kingdom, the kingdom of iron and clay, was the Romans and the Jews. The Jews who were called in Jeremiah 18:6 potter's clay, just as they're called in Daniel 2. I think that very often when it comes to eschatology, we try to make things much harder than they have to be. I don't think it's a revived Roman Empire in the future. I don't think that it's Nephilim who can't cleave with humans and then have sterile children or sterile offspring. This is talking about the apostate Jews of the first century. That's all that I have for you today. I know it was a short one. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one down below. And if you like my work and would like to check out my channel membership, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. Or you can just click on it right on my channel page. And I hope you have a great day.